Hi, I'm Promise Israel. This is I'm Tired of Pretending, my signature series on truth, pressure, grace, and the cost of being honest. Let's get started.
Took me a minute for me to get to know you, but I'm here, and now I'm ready. I neglected the fact that I didn't know you now, but I'm ready.
Before I say anything else, this series is not to glorify, promote, or encourage cannabis use, specifically in the area of smoking. This is my personal testimony about the pressure of image, the freedom of honesty, and the way people are treated when they don't fit a polished mold. When I posted this video of me smoking, what shocked me the most was how free I felt after I pressed post. Not to be silly about it, but I was like, let me roll up and smoke another one because I felt like a weight was lifted off of my back. Because let's be real, I had allowed, and I've been doing this my whole life. That's why it's important to do root work. Sometimes you can unknowingly allow others to put you into this mold of who they think you should be, what's appropriate for you. It starts when you're a child. Your parents do it to you. This is not a bad thing. But sometimes you can get so good at pretending that you don't even know you're still pretending. See, I developed a skill where I was able to read the room. So I know who I need to be for this moment, for this person, for that situation. I knew how to change hats. I knew how to put on a different mask whenever I needed to. And honestly, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing it's more of a burden to live like that versus just not living your truth. I'm not here to preach your truth and my truth. I'm here to say it's very important to understand and embrace where you are on your journey in life. Point blank, period. So, regarding my content, for a while, I felt like people were putting me in a box, and I felt like people were putting me in a box, making me into this perfect Christian girl image. And I am a Christian, I'm also a girl. I'm not perfect, but I'm pretty darn close. But it didn't feel good. And when I saw that happening on my platforms, when I saw that that was how the algorithm was even labeling me, it started to feel very restricting because it was parts of myself that I wasn't disclosing because it was personal. But then I realized, oh, people are really looking at me in a way where if I don't get in front of this narrative, not saying it's not true, but it's very important to not allow people to put labels on you. That's just, I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't willing to do that. I need to be able to tell my own story. I need to be able to disclose why I do certain stuff and why I don't do certain stuff and how certain stuff has affected me. And just, I needed to tell my story. And not specifically about smoking, but just about everything. As you grow to watch me more, you're going to learn things about me that's going to make you say, oh, wow, I didn't know that about her. And that's the beauty of it. When you're able to tell your own story, you're doing the writing because I'm living this story out. So it was very important for me to show a side of myself that, number one, I was wrestling with regarding my faith and regarding just my human nature and where I was. And I was just in the midst of an internal battle about how I felt about myself regarding smoking. And while I'm a Christian, I just never wanted to live as someone's polished fantasy. I don't want to be the poster girl for what makes you right in God's eyes because I cannot be that. I'm not worthy to be the poster for the standard of what Christ is approving or not approving. No one will know that until Judgment Day. And so once I came into that truth of this is not what I want to be, and this is not what I'm going to allow people to turn me into because it's going to water down just the truth and the transparency that I hold within. Like I'm willing to be transparent about my life, and that's beautiful. So I cannot be that if I'm allowing people who are consuming my content to just fit me into this trophy girl. I just did not want to get caught up in performing for people because I feel like I've had to perform my whole life. And this is not to blame anyone. It's just sometimes you get good at being the person you need to be in certain settings. And when you learn this as a child, you have to grow up and you have to become an adult and you have to learn how now to utilize this skill that you have. But some people, they get lost in the persona, they get lost in the performing. And it's a time for that, but it's also a time to stand on who you are as a woman, as a Christian, or if you're a man watching as a man. And I wanted to be able to face the person I see in the mirror every day and say, this is where I was, good or bad, and this is where I'm going. So just to get back on the video, the freedom wasn't me smoking, like not where the sense of freedom came from. I had to really sit with this situation because I wanted to make sure I wasn't even into a realm of glorifying smoking. So when I posted the video and I looked back on it and I spent a couple of days just kind of meditating on it and just looking at myself, the freedom came from the fact that I wasn't pretending. Like I am actually in a season where I'm a smoker and part of me wants to feel terrible about it, but the other part is embracing that person because I think that where I am right now today is so necessary, not just for me, but for the people that I'm going to come into contact with who are probably in a season like this. Do you see how I'm not labeling this season as a bad thing? Because everything is about perception. Now, some people are smokers and they are bad smokers. But guess what? Smoking in general is bad for every human with breath in their body. It doesn't matter what you smoke. That's why in my disclaimer, I said specifically about the area of smoking. Okay, guess what? It's a lot of people that you don't even know who are consumers of cannabis. Doesn't make it right or wrong, doesn't make it good or bad. That's on God. God has to judge that. Now in the Bible it tells you do not be drunken and be of a sober mind. That just means you got to have some self-discipline. You got to make sure you're not going overboard and you're overindulgent in some of this stuff. So when I posted the video, the freedom, the feeling of no longer having to hide a part of my reality just to maintain an image that other people were comfortable with. Now, when the video first surfaced, of course, my mom called me, my dad called me, and they were not pleased with me posting a video like that. It just gave me a deeper insight on, oh, y'all were okay with me smoking because you knew. And when I showed the world, it was no longer acceptable. I'm not mad at them for feeling like this, but it just gave me a deeper insight on how some people are okay with you indulging in certain stuff as long as you don't show it. Because if you show this, it's going to affect something within that person. I don't even think their discomfort was about me. I think their discomfort was about them and how they started to perceive me or how they had perceived me my whole life. And also, I think it kind of triggered the trophy that they had turned me into. It did. The post, it felt like a breath of fresh air. It felt like I laid down the performance that I was carrying. So let's be clear again. The real issue is not the consumption of cannabis, and that's also not the meat of the video. The real issue is what happens when people are loved more for looking pure than for telling the truth. This series is about image, judgment, grace, what it means to be human while still being on a journey with Christ. Over this series, I want to talk honestly about the pressure to perform, the difference between conviction and condemnation, how judgment can keep people from even feeling safe enough to come closer to God. If all you see is the blunt, the J, the smoke, whatever you call it, you may miss the deeper truth that I'm trying to tell. I'll see you on the next video.